All right, this is my daily update for my build in public log. It's January 13th, 2025. I had family over all weekend. Um, didn't get a lot of work done this weekend. I did get some work done, and I'll talk about that briefly. But yeah, I was very busy. Yeah, so let's just jump into my random story for the day. Oh, be quick. If you don't want to hear my random story, fast forward. Um, so, so I got to hang out with all of my nephews in one weekend, all at the same time, which is pretty cool. That's, I think, one of the few times ever I've done that. I am an uncle. And we went to the zoo because they're young, very, very young kids and they love the zoo. And this zoo has like kind of a newish Africa kind of area with all the, African animals. And we started talking about eating the animals. So I've spent decent amount of time living and hanging out in Africa. And um, we were talking about the gazelles, and it made me think of this story. So one time I was in South Africa, and it was my birthday, and um, a friend, somebody I met there, took me out to have like a birthday dinner, and we went to a really nice place in Cape Town, South Africa, and it was really cool. Like this big group of people, kind of dressed like traditional tribal kind of attire. You know what I mean? Came and they all sang me like a big song, and we recorded it, and there was like a lot of song and dance and stuff. Really, really cool. But for my birthday, I got Gazelle, and I'll never forget. It was like this gazelle leg, just this big hunk of meat there. How do I say? I was kind of being evil about it, and I was, I was making a lot of jokes about the poor little gazelle. I'm eating him, and I kept showing like a cute little picture of the gazelle to the people at the table, and making a lot of fun out of it. And so what happened was we went out after that, and we were out like we went to like a club or a bar or whatever, and I was like, wow, I'm feeling kind of funky here. Like what's going on, And everybody was dancing, and my friend was like, hey, why aren't you dancing? Why aren't you having, it looks like you're not having a good time. I said, yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of off. And boy, let me tell you, that little gazelle had its revenge on me. I was making a big joke about it, and the joke was on me. I got horrible food poisoning eating this little gazelle leg. I, I thought I was a big bad lion, but no, I was the horribly sick human throwing up all night. That got me so sick, that little piece of gazelle leg. I think I had turned 35, I believe. So it was like a big birthday, 35 is kind of a big year. I'm old, yes. I spent my birthday just being sick as a dog, throwing up. So yeah, wasn't a great birthday at the end. No, but the dinner was very lovely, and that was very cool. And it was a fun night. But yeah, I ended up being horrifically sick for like 2 days, or a couple days, from food poisoning. So be careful in Africa what you eat. So it was great hanging out with my nephews. They loved feeding the giraffes, especially. These giraffes, and you give them lettuce. So anyways, on to business. As I said, I was pretty busy with family. Um, they are now gone, and it's finally back to normal. So all the guests from out of town, out of state, out of country, everyone has come and gone. Now I can focus very, very heavily this week on building agents. So what did I do this weekend? I did manage to get some work done. Um, I I spent quite a bit of time getting trigger.dev up and running on my server. Now, this tool looks very, very, very promising. What this tool does is this tool will, it was originally made as an orchestration tool to run your long-running task in JavaScript in serverless environments. So think like AWS Lambdas. This was made so you can like spin up, like it orchestrates having a queue, retrying and spinning up and running and executing long-running code on other servers using serverless. So think like something like Next.js. Next.js hosted on Vercel isn't great for long-running tasks. So like, let's say you need to upload a video or something, or do video processing, or like nowadays, you need to run code for AI. You need to wait for a response. You need to maybe take some action, maybe call a few LLMs, make a few calls to an LLM. Serverless is horrible for that. The beautiful thing about that is it goes down to zero, which means if you're not using any lambdas and there's no compute, you're not being charged any money. It goes to zero, assuming you're not keeping those lambdas warm, which I won't get into. So the thing is, it can scale infinitely, quote unquote. Well, infinitely with a huge bill. And what this does is this ran those in a way where it will like queue and process and retry. But the new version of trigger.dev works a bit how all of the kind of edge platforms are working, where it will run in Dino, modern take on Node. So it's like Node, think of it almost like Node version 2. The creator of Node created it. So why do they run in Dino? They run in Dino because the startup time is super, super fast. It's a lot faster than Node. So there's not like this cold start problem. So when you spin up a box for serverless and you run some code, and let's say nobody has made a request to that serverless code in like an hour, for example, it has to spin up, process, and then return, and that's slow. It's called a cold start, and the reason why is frankly Node is very slow. Node was not designed to do that. Node was designed to be running on a server with a lot of I/O to handle a lot of input and outputs. It was not designed in that fashion, whereas Dino is. So is Bun.js. Bun.js is very fast. But with serverless, with the lambdas, they're micro little tiny boxes that don't have a lot of memory, and they time out. They're not designed for long-running processes. So that's what trigger.dev is doing. It's an orchestration where you can, like, look at this example, have a long-running task where it's like, go generate a prompt, go call ChatGPT 4.0, go generate an image. First go create a prompt, create an image, and then return both of it. That's very slow. You cannot run this in a traditional Lambda, because it will time out. And you'll get a lot of timeouts. Maybe it won't always time out, but what if it does fail? What if it needs to be tried? So that's what this tool does. It looks very promising. I've heard good things. I have not tried it yet, but it took I ran into some trouble, but I managed to get this on to my server, so I'm self-hosting it, and the price is pretty reasonable, to be honest, but. I have moved away from Vercel and Netlify. I'm going to be really transparent here. The reason why is it's very scary to me how much money those companies have raised. Those companies have raised astronomical amounts of money. Look at this. Look at this. Vercel has raised $250 million in a Series E round. Look, let me explain how this works, okay? I've worked in tech for almost 20 years. When a company raises $250 million, those investors want huge returns. How is Vercel going to make so much money with their free plan? My point is, I'm moving off because these companies have raised hundreds of millions of dollars and they're going to need to recoup their costs. It's going to get expensive. They're going to start jacking up prices. Honestly, they've abstracted away deploying to Lambdas on AWS, and they're upcharging it by huge amounts. That's essentially what they're doing. Now, I like their tooling. Believe me, I'm not hating on them. Like, I love the tools. I love Netlify a lot. Vercel's great. I'm a fan. I think it's great what they've built. I like the architecture. I think it works great for a lot of products and projects. But they need to recoup that money. So I've moved away because I see what's coming. The prices are going to be, raised quite a bit. Trigger looks great, but I think they're following the same pattern I predict, where it's cheap, they lock you in, and then they start raising the prices. Or if you actually have real users, the price skyrockets. So it looks it looks very good. The price looks fantastic right now, but also look at the boxes that it runs on. It's pretty underpowered. So okay, you have this one. This looks decent. These two look decent. Yeah, let me try self-hosting for now. And you know what? If my product takes off, if AI chat takes off, and I do have a lot of requests and a lot of agents using, sure, I'll happily move to this. But I want to start with self-hosted first, so I can get into the habit of self-hosting and running these things, and pushing my own server as far as I can. So, anyways, I got this. That's all I managed to get done this weekend, and I'm very excited to try it. It looks really cool. It looks like a cool product. A lot of cool features, and I believe it works as I hope and think it does. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try and report back, but I managed to get this up and running, and so today and all of this week, my focus is going to be building a full working agent and then sharing what I find, having it use Trigger. I need very smart queuing and processing of long running tasks because I'm going to share what I'm building later in another video. So you'll find out soon. That's all I got for today.